And now, introducing Casey Carter.
Hey, it's Casey. It's Wednesday. I can't believe an entire week has gone by. Um, you know, I missed you guys. I sure did. Sure did. Sure did. Sure did. If you were here last week, you know it was my birthday. I did the show for a little while just so you could be here for my birthday. So glad you joined. I showed some videos from my 50th birthday party. If you missed it, so sorry. Go to my Twitter line after the show, of course. And, oh no, I'm sorry. The Twitter line shows the fetish ball. So, yeah, you're going to have to scroll through my stuff to see, party stuff. But either way, it was a good time. Went to Orlando. Um, and I haven't been to Orlando in forever. Um, and It was nice to be back, to be honest. I mean, when I tell you I haven't been there in forever, and I say that because I lived there for 10 years. Yeah, something just said go to Orlando. And I actually had a good time those first 10 years, and then things changed, and I moved back to New York, Connecticut, New York tri-state, and now I'm here in Georgia. Like, I totally digressed, but either way, celebrated my birthday. And just so you know, I know you're like, Casey, so sorry I missed your birthday. If I had known, I'd have got you a gift. Aha! Well, now you do know. And since it's still June, I mean, hey, listen, no matter when you watched this video or my actual birthday video, there is nothing that stops you from sending a gift because you feel so inclined. So right there, that's how you find me. Casey's wish list. Yep, just type that in and have at it. And again, let me remind you, don't look at my wish list and go, "Oh, I don't really see anything on there that I want to buy for Casey." Do you understand how wish lists work? I make a wish, I get what I wish for. Not you see my wish list and go, "I don't like it." It's not your wish list. And that's, let me just like drop that little piece of knowledge on you. For those of you who peruse through other wish lists and think, "I don't see anything I want to buy," not your wish list. This is a good piece of education for you. See how it says Casey's wish list? It's because it's my wish list. It's not your wish list for me. It's my wish list for me. So, having said that, um, just saying, it was my birthday. It's still my birthday technically, and yeah. Hey, in bed with Nikki. Hi. Ooh, I love that little picture with the finger. Anyway, woo, okay. So tonight's show, first of all, is one of my favorite favorite topics. I am obsessed with this topic. And tonight we are talking about Casey's 8 favorite fetishes. Um, Thank you. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you. In support. Agree. I agree. There you go. See? It's not just me saying it. You got someone else co-signing on that. But anyway, I am absolutely obsessed with fetishes. If you just come to know me, you don't know that yet. But if you know me from before I got kicked off Periscope, you know I can drag out a list of fetishes. If you've ever read any of my books, in the back of my books is a list of fetishes. Why? Because I'm obsessed with them. Oh my God, I love a fetish. Why do I love a fetish? Because I think it's one of those things that it actually is a leveler. Despite the fact that people want to make you feel bad for having a fetish, we've all got a fetish of some kind. We just don't know that's what it is. But there's something that we feel some kind of way about. And I'm going to share with you 8 of the fetishes that I find interesting. And here's the thing, I'm not saying that these are my personal favorites. Um, 1 or 2 maybe, but these are fetishes that I find interesting. And honey, let me tell you, my list of fetishes is as long as my arm. All right. And so that being said, I could go on for days, which I often do, about fetishes. But I chose these particular 8 because in some way they all fascinate me. But let's first talk about what a fetish is. Um, and let me where did I put my definition on what a fetish is? Here we go. So paraphilia. Fetish falls under this frame of paraphilia and is the experience of intense sexual arousal to atypical objects, situations, fantasies, behaviors, or individuals. Now, I am going to admit, I got this from Wikipedia. I don't typically grab my definitions from Wikipedia, but let me tell you why I grabbed this particular definition. Because if you search for paraphilias, you're going to find a lot of definitions that describe this as a perversion. They'll refer to it as as a sickness, as a deviant behavior, as deviant behaviors. I'm not doing that with y'all because I don't believe that. I don't believe that having a paraphilia is a deviant behavior. I think people can be deviant, but having a pedophilia does not lead to you being a deviant or a pervert or anything of that nature. Um, Merriam Webster, right? Is that what this one is? I think so. They define fetish as an object believed to have, nope, I don't like that. An object of irrational reverence or obsessive devotion. An object or bodily part whose real or fantasized presence is psychologically necessary for sexual gratification, and that is an object of fixation to the extent that it may interfere with complete sexual expression. You see why I like that other definition? Because these all make you feel like there's something wrong with you. Baby, there ain't nothing wrong with you. I want you to come into the light and be comfortable with your fetish, with your paraphilia. And in an effort to bring you into the light, I'm going to start you easy. And we're going to start with podophilia. You see all them feet? Yeah, all them feet. Foot fetish, y'all. Foot fetish. We all know foot fetish. We know what it is. We know who people who have foot fetishes. You may have a foot fetish of your own. Um, what I find fascinating about foot fetish, I can never get anybody to explain to me what it is they like about feet. I'll get things like they like the arch of the foot. They just like the way it looks. They like the way it smells. They like having toes in their mouth. They like touching it. They like having it on, mushed on their body. They like people walking on them. I can't. You just can't get an explanation for why people are obsessed with feet. And I'm fascinated by that because it gets deeper than that. Um, Someone that I follow on Twitter and Instagram, his obsession for feet goes to specifically flip flops. Not a flip flop, but a foot in a flip flop. He's obsessed with a foot in a flip flop. I can't explain it. Can't explain it. If you peruse through cam sites, you'll find tons and tons and tons of videos on foot fetishes. But they get very specific. You'll have high heels. You'll have open toe shoes. You'll have people who just want to watch people's toes wiggle. Like, and I'm talking, I watched a few of these videos myself. People sitting out in the park under a tree, reading a book, fully clothed, and the camera's like mainly focused on their feet so that their toes wiggle. You just see the toes wiggle. There are people who like to see feet in socks and stockings. They like to watch you put lotion or oil on your feet. They like to watch you paint your toenails. They like your feet in dirty sneakers. They're obsessed with this potential smell of your feet in your sweaty socks. Again, there is no explanation for what it is a person likes, but they just like it. And I love that. I love that. Because, when it comes to foot fetishes, I got my own little issues, not specifically feet. I got a thing for shoes. I like the way my feet look in shoes. In most cases, you can't even see my foot in the shoe, but I have a thing for shoes. I'm very particular about shoes. I like a certain type of heel. I like a height on a heel. I like colors. I like straps. My favorite is a strappy sandal. One of the reasons, and specifically, not even so much a strappy sandal. I like a peak toe with an ankle strap. It all started with I Love Lucy. Anybody old enough or has Nickelodeon, you've seen I Love Lucy. Lucy used to wear these dresses, and she would have shoes with a little bitty peak toe, little peak toe, and an ankle strap. I was obsessed with Lucy's shoes. And then my mom had the most amazing shoe collection because she was a little ADD. And so all her outfits had to have matching everything, matching shoes, matching bag, matching belt, you name it, everything about it had to match. And she always had the most amazing shoes. So I have a shoe fetish. That's problem, falls on the umbrella of foot fetish, aka podophilia. But enough about feet. On to our next fetish. Voyeurism. I see you. All right, so voyeurism. I found, definitions, right? And I thought this one was really interesting because they labeled it as consensual voyeurism as opposed to someone who's a peeping Tom. Okay, that's fine. I'm all right with that because in most cases, in a in an exchange in a relationship, yeah, folks typically will know. So I'll let them have that whole consensual thing. But voyeurism is the act of watching people, specifically in sexual situations. But there's something about watching and not like as an audience specifically, because there's a flip side to that. It's more of the peeking. It's more of the they don't know I'm watching. That's sort of the arousal that you're observing something that's technically private and you're peeking in on the situation. Um, whatever the situation is, whether it's people kissing, masturbating, actually having sex. Um, yeah, it's the fact that you're not, like I said, an audience member watching. You're more like someone back in the shadows peeking at it. Now, you may say, well, doesn't it count if I'm in an audience watching this activity going on? Yeah, but really, the flip it, and the person in that scenario really getting the pleasure are the people that you're watching. They are exhibitionists. They are so turned on by you watching and by whatever reaction they're getting from you. Um, so, yeah, you might be a voyeur. The audience might be filled with voyeurs, but in that scenario, it's more about the people who are performing. So, question is, are you a voyeur or are you an exhibitionist? Uh, I do know now that Jason has a foot fetish, and it's very common. Like I said, there's so many layers to foot fetish. And apparently, Jason loves watching other people. Thinks it's really hot. I too am a voyeur. I do. I find it really, really interesting. Um, I find it very interesting to watch. Lorenzo, just as much excitement with the people knowing that you're watching. Yeah, it is. Like those exhibitionists, there might be this initial cognizance of the audience, but because this is their kink, their fetish, that some point they zone out. Everything is no longer there, and they are just in the moment, in their experience, in their scene. Um, and it's like you're not even there. Like you're not even there. All right. Up next, lactophilia. Yeah. So that was a cow that you saw back in that photo. And anyone who's ever had children and nursed their children recognize the word, the first part of that word, lacto. So lactophilia are folks who get off on women who are nursing. Yeah, they want to watch women nurse. They want to nurse. They want to drink breast milk. They want it squirted at them. They want it dripped on them. They want to squeeze. They want to pump. They It's an interesting thing. Anybody Okay. So uh King Noir and Jet Setting Jasmine a couple years ago, they had a beautiful little boy. She took advantage, Jasmine that is, took advantage of her pregnancy to explore fetishes that are about pregnant women, how the woman's body changes during the course of pregnancy. And one of those things is a lot of women, their breasts fill out because our body is designed to be to be life-giving and nurturing. And if our breasts fill with milk so that we can take care of this child. And so it's a thing, y'all. It's a real thing. And for those of you who have never experienced breast milk and you're like, that's some crazy shit. You ever tasted it? Breast milk is actually kind of sweet. Yeah, I nursed my kids. I needed to know what it tastes like, so I tasted it. But yeah, it's actually kind of sweet. So even in the sense that it sounds crazy that a grown person would want to nurse or would want to drink breast milk, it tastes pretty good. So yeah, and you may be wondering, is that akin to just having a breast fetish? I, again, like the foot fetish, I think it all falls under that same umbrella, if you will. Especially because you get a lot of people who say, "Oh, I got a breast fetish. I got a breast fetish," and then the follow up question to that is often, "Did your mother nurse you? Were you breastfed?" You see what I'm saying? You see how it goes right back. So yeah, you have to wonder. Next time somebody says they have a breast fetish, ask them, were they nursed? And the reason why I bring this up is because I tell people all the time, fetishes are not as crazy as it sounds. I know the medical books want you to believe it's deviant behavior, it's perverted behavior, but listen, if you did a scientific poll and found that everyone who says they have a breast fetish nursed, or a significant percentage of people who have a breast fetish nursed, does sound like perversion? I mean, it sounds like it's something that we learned in our childhood, right? How many of you um, say sucked on a pacifier, and your parents let you suck on that pacifier way past longer than you should have? That's my personal opinion, but way past longer than you should have. Or you had a blanket and the blanket was soothing to you. Whenever you got that blanket, it immediately made you feel better. Yeah, so this is where I say it's kind of the same thing, except we're talking now those things that give you sexual satisfaction. It brings you to that sort of place. I know y'all ain't crazy about me drawing that connection to childhood. The point I'm trying to make about drawing that connection to childhood and the things we obsess over in childhood, the things that are given to us that calm and soothe us, it's not unlike these fetishes. It's not unlike the fact that you will find yourself aroused in some way. Or for me, the shoe fetish, I'm not saying that I'm having an orgasm over the shoe. What I am saying though is I can get stuck looking at myself, the foot, the leg, the shoe, I can get caught. Like I can just sit there in that moment and just it'll just take me somewhere. That's what I'm saying. All paraphilia don't end in an orgasm. They end in a sense of satiation. You are satisfied. You it brings you to a euphoria. It gives you that I just want you to reframe your mind around fetishes and take out this these definitions of perversion and deviant behavior and look at them more at the gratification you get and how it genuinely could have started way, way, way long ago. Our brain could have been programmed back when we were a child to have reactions to inanimate objects. I'm just saying. And now I'm going to take a commercial break.
Nominated Best Lifestyle in Adult Industry Erotic Writer and Best Lifestyle Adult Educator, Casey Carter. Winners will be announced September 18, 2021.
Okay. Quick shout out to fellow author Christopher Markland. Hey, brother. How you doing? And Jason, I'm so glad to hear you're learning so much. This is why I show up every week. This is why I show up every week. There are some things that you can learn, exciting, how to flog, how to roll, rig and fire play and wax play and all of those things. I love all of that. I also love very much having conversations with you about fetishes. And so, up next on my list of fetishes, this right here. Ooh, this is my sweet spot. Shoes, and then this one right here. Sadism. Oof. Oh, let me tell you something. Sadism is not for the faint at heart. You can't be no punk bitch and call yourself a sadist. So okay, wait. My brain just like went so many places all at one time. All right, so a sadist is typically defined as the arousal at the thought of someone else's pain, at the thought of causing pain. Let me be honest with you. It's not the thought of it, it's the act of it. And again, this is with permission. When you do this without permission, that's some other shit. That's not what this is today. This is all, everything we're talking about is consensual. So a sadist loves to inflict pain. Loves to inflict pain. And understand, you as a sadist, it's not the physical action, it is the reaction of the person that you're inflicting the pain on that you're looking for. I mean, because if I can flick you with my finger and it causes you to be like, that's just as good as if I beat you with my wooden spoon. It's just as good, right? I don't have any other toys over here. They're all on the other side of the room. But it doesn't matter what the device is. If I can, and again, if you come to one of my pervertible workshops, I'm going to teach you the power of a Twizzler. Ooh, baby. Twizzler. Yes, I said Twizzler. I said licorice. Yes, I get tremendous pleasure out of teaching this pervertibles class because the reaction, and now I'm going to tell you my secret. The reaction people get when they get hit that first time with the Twizzler, it's like they are floored that the fact that they could get hit with a Twizzler, not only did that joint sting, it left a mark, and depending upon your skin type, you got a whelp. I mean, listen, I love that look. I've got videos from where I taught the class. I mean, people cussed, balled up their hand to make a fist. We didn't use a single traditional BDSM toy. We used stuff from around the house. Candy, wooden spoons, forks, you name it. Just from around the house. Just from around the house. Jason, not Matt Damon anymore. It's Twizzlers. Honey, let me tell you. Twizzler Workshop. Pervertibles. You can do damage with a Twizzler. So anyway, I am a sadist. I love the reaction given when inflicting pain. Up next, we're about to hang a left right? And we about to talk about some shit here. Voreraphilia and necrophilia. Okay, so I'm gonna start with necrophilia. We're probably familiar with necrophilia. Necrophilia is being sexually aroused by dead bodies and oftentimes having sex with dead bodies. And you're thinking to yourself, why would anybody have sex with a dead body? Okay, I am not a licensed psychologist, psychotherapist, not a licensed doctor of any kind. So this is strictly my unprofessional opinion. But a lot of you are having sex with people who appear dead anyway. What do you mean, Casey? I don't understand. What I'm saying is they lay there in the bed. They do nothing. They just lay there. They just lay there. So what I'm saying is this isn't as crazy as you may think. And let me, for those of you who are offended because you're the person who lays there like a dead fish, or you're the person who's fucking the dead fish, I am not here to offend you. I'm here to make a point that some of y'all are already fucking dead people. You just don't know because they still have a pulse, but they don't move. It's a real thing. I've seen it on TV shows. I can't even tell you, it was probably a CSI or something like that, where the person's fetish is to have sex with dead people, but they don't go to the extent of the full necrophilia experience. Instead, they will have a live person, and they will insist that the live person lay perfectly still, be limp, like nothing, like they, so that they have the ability to control, move their body however they want, position their body however they want, and the person that's the body literally has to play dead. Literally has to play dead. Now, a significant difference is a live body, like juices flow and things like that. Dead body juices don't flow. I'm gonna let your imagination run wild on that one. But yeah, folks like having sex with dead bodies. This is where I say I think there's a lot more going on in that instance, because this is again one of those that you hear about in the news when they go to the dude's house, and down in his basement behind a false wall that he built are these bodies, and they later find out that the person had sex with them. See, this is how folks get away with saying that fetishes are deviant and perverse, because you have those kinds of moments. It's just fascinating. Fascinating. Now, our other fetish that I lumped in with this, with necrophilia, is vorophilia. Vorophilia. And you're like, Casey, what the fuck is that? I've never heard that one. Listen, I learn about a fetish all the time. I'm not sure I've heard this one before. But any of you are obsessed with The Walking Dead or zombie apocalypse or any zombie related movie, and you find yourself really, really, really enjoying when people get eaten, and like the more gruesome the better, like you like watching the body get ripped apart and all of that, this you right here, vorophilia. Yeah. So it's fantasies about eating someone or watching someone being eaten, chewed, or swallowed whole. This cannibalism influenced sexual interest involves getting eaten alive, usually being consumed whole and live by a much larger person. Um, these are the words of a psychologist. Um, yeah, that's some shit right there, man, is all I'm going to say. Interesting, right? Like, so couple of minutes ago, we're talking about people who like to have sex with dead bodies. Now we're talking about people who like to watch people get eaten alive. You wonder why these zombie movies do so well, right? Just saying. Um, so the vorophilia is also abbreviated to VORE. That's important because there is animated vore porn. And it is apparently hugely popular. So again, that spelling is VORE. Go to your favorite porn site, type VORE, and see what you get. But yeah, we into some shit, y'all. We into some shit. Next up on my list, Europhilia. Europhilia. So Europhilia is folks who are into urine. There's really no other way to say it. They're into urine. And if you saw that graphic that I just ran, let me just run that again. Whoever's sample that is, you need some water in your life. That urine's too dark. you need to drink a little bit more water. Cut out whatever that is that's turning your urine so dark. But Europhilia, huge, huge. Like, remember how at the top of the show I said foot fetish is big, the podophilia? Quiet as it's kept. Folks like to get peed on. Yeah, I know, you're thinking, that's not so quiet. That's R. Kelly every day, all day. I know. That is my point. That's my point. Folks like to get peed on. Folks like to pee on people. I've not figured this one out either. I haven't. I mean, there are people who are buying urine. There are people buying urine. They will buy your urine. Hit me up on my social media if you want to buy some urine. But folks, like, legit, they like, and I don't know how to explain, right? Like, what I understand is it's the urine is basically body temperature, so it feels warm when it hits the body. Oftentimes people who like urophilia or like being peed on are into humiliation, so this adds to the pleasure that because they're typically going to be down on the ground, whether in a whether with their head positioned in a Queen Anne chair. And if you don't know what a Queen Anne chair is, it's envision like a fancy toilet, and a person slides underneath and their face is positioned so that they are like the toilet bowl, if you will. And, a person sits on the Queen Anne chair and pees. But folks are known to drink it. They're known to cleanse with it. I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it at I don't know. It's a thing. It's a big thing. And along with urophilia, you're thinking we're talking about pee and how crazy it is that people like to be peed on or drink the pee or what have you. Yeah, there are folks who also like to have shit on them. Yeah. So that's a thing. And listen, no shade whatsoever. None. All I could tell you is everybody needs to be consensual and everybody needs to be safe, and you need to be in the right frame of mind. Right frame of mind. But I tell you, these kinks, man. This is why I could talk about fetish all day, because there were some that I'm just like, wait, what? And others that I'm like, ooh, fascinating. Ooh, yes. So I got two more. I'll be right back. All right. Last two. So this next one is mechanophilia. Mechanophilia. I showed you two cars. Let's just go back to those for a minute. I chose these particular cars because I love a C7 Z06 Corvette, specifically the yellow black combination. That's my jam. Was out in Vegas and had the chance to drive. Had the chance to drive the C7 in Vegas and a C8 here in north of Atlanta. And it was the C8 was my first mid-engine. Nice car, and that's what I thought. Nice car. And when the instructor said to me, "Yeah, you could just drive this every day to the grocery store," I was like, "That's a wrap." Anything built like this that you say you can drive every day to the grocery store, it has lost its excitement. Just lost its excitement. Jason asked, What's your favorite fetish, Casey?" Honestly, Jason, as much as I love my shoes, I am a sadist every day, all day. I genuinely enjoy that reaction to pain. I love that reaction to pain. So yeah, I am a sadist, or that's my favorite fetish is sadism. But going back to the mechanophilia. So mechanophilia is a basically an arousal to machines, specifically cars. And what's interesting about it is people have been known to have sex with their car. I don't fucking know how. I don't know how. I don't know. I don't know if we're fucking the gas tank. I don't know if we're grinding on the leather. I don't know if people are like, if you have a custom ride and you've got, you've replaced the manufacturer's gear shift for something custom, and you do what you do. I don't know what it is, but I will say my experience with the C7 on the track in Vegas, man, when you ride in this car, this Corvette C7 Z06, you ride in this car and you get up over 100 and the car is like, yes. And that sucker drops down to the ground and you snuggle up on the turns and the car wants to go faster and faster. And as you go faster and faster, the car starts taking control. Ooh, baby. That just drives me crazy. That turns me on. Not about all cars in general, but about this specific automobile. And like I said, I had a chance to drive the new mid-engine and the Z06. The C7 is the one just before this new mid-engine. It's a nice car, but it didn't make me oof, like, ew. Oh my God. You don't understand. The faster that car went, the hungrier it got, the more it wanted, and the more I wanted to be in it. Yeah, I'm still here, Lorenzo. I'm here. But and here's the thing too. I had the opportunity to get into a C6 and drift around the track. So, if you're a fan of the first set of Fast and Furious movies where they did a whole lot of drifting and all of that, you may never, ever, ever, ever get the experience of drifting. Let me tell you, baby, I've had a chance to do it twice in a Corvette. Wait, no. I think once was in a Corvette, or was the second both? I know, I think they were both in a Corvette. Baby, baby, baby. No, one was not in a Corvette. It was in something else. Doesn't matter. Drifting of any kind. Again, if you can hold your shit together and not be afraid that you're going to wreck, there is a level of excitement that really, oh my god. Like when I got out the car, Lorenzo had to he had to give I had to just give me a minute. Just I need a minute. I had to, as he said, come back. I had to, thank you, Lorenzo. It was a Dodge. I had to come back to myself. I had to settle down. Like when you have an orgasm and you're semi-conscious, like you know things are going on around you, but you really can't participate in the things that are going around you because your head is all messed up. That's how I was when I got out of this Corvette. I was like, I need a minute. I just need a minute. So mechanophilia. Yeah. For those of you who were all up in your car, now you know why. And last but not least, pygophilia. Pygophilia. Pygophilia is an obsession with butts. Now, I chose those pictures because we as a society are now obsessed with big butts. The bigger, the better. And folks are paying good money to suck out fat from wherever they don't want the fat to put it all up in them butts. Okay? Sir Mix-a-Lot, I like big butts and I cannot lie. Well, there was a time when the only big butts that existed belonged to black girls. And white girls made black girls feel bad about them big butts. Who's laughing now? Yeah. So anyway, you got folks when they have these conversations, are you a breast man or an ass man? And I'm going to say this. I typically hear that conversation amongst black men. Are you a breast man or an ass man? Ah, man, I'm an ass man. You can grab on it and I'm sorry. When I tell you you can have a fetish or an obsession with just about anything, you can. And for those of you who like a big butt, it is called pygophilia. Pygophilia. Big butt lover. But I could go on for days about things that turn people on. Let me just real quick, right? Like I've got this list. So on just this page, there is titilagania, which is arousal to tickling other people. There is also another one called turnophilia, which is arousal to being tickled by feathers. How about pubophilia? Arousal to pubic hair. Let me see. What else do I have on here? No, see, some of these are so out there, I just can't do it. Xylophilia. is arousal to wood. Are those tree huggers? I don't know. Corprophilia. Remember I told you that there was a shit version? Coprophilia. Arousal to feces. Listen, folks. Like I said, I could go on for days regarding fetishes. It is there's probably more fetishes than there are names for fetishes. Or some folks, like I mentioned about the feet, there's podophilia as a big umbrella, and then there's all these little things that fall underneath. Point of having this conversation is to normalize pedophilia. Different fetish altogether. Not what I meant to say. Is to normalize paraphilias, to normalize fetishes, to recognize that we all in some way have a fetish of some kind. And quite frankly, we just need to embrace the fact that we have this fetish. It does not make us a deviant. It does not make us a pervert. Doesn't require us having to sit through psychotherapy, to be on medication, to hide or be ashamed. And I think of all the things that you can experience by having a fetish and being open about the fetish, the shame is the part that I think is the most destructive. Forcing people to feel shame around anything related to their sexual experience, it just creates more trouble than it's worth. You do more damage by making a person feel ashamed for urges or desires that are natural. They are natural. And by telling someone that they're bad, dirty, perverted, um, deranged, deviant, you do more damage to them. It is better to educate people than to ridicule and shame. By educating a person, I can encourage, uplift, provide an open space, provide a safe space to explore, learn, and grow. So, my friends, that is why we're having this conversation about fetishes. This is why I want you to come back every week. Because I'm going to talk. I'm going to ask questions. I want you to ask questions. I want you to come with an open mind and leave with more knowledge than when you first got here. So, I've come to the end of the show. This is where I would typically show you my promo for this week's episode of BoobTube. I hate to say, there's no BoobTube tonight. Sorry. You'll have to come back next week for BoobTube, or at least for a new episode. But for now, if you are not already following me, these are your instructions.
I got what you need, I got what you want, I got what you need, tell them giddy up, I got horses in the back, trunk in the front, exterior red and that inside buttercup, I got what you need, I got what you want, I got what you need, tell them giddy up.
All right, so before I go, allow me to remind you, it's June. It's still my birthday. That's my wish list. Go on ahead. Get me something. I don't care how much it costs. Casey, I didn't get paid this week. You can get a $5, $10 Amazon gift card. It's good. It's all good. Don't put a price tag on giving. You give what you can and you give from the heart. It all is all good. It all matters. Lorenzo would like for me to remind you to vote ASN Awards. I ran that promo. Rewind the show to see the link for the voting. If not, go to my Twitter And I pretty much running a promo for that just every day. So hit my timeline. You're going to find the link to ASN Lifestyle Magazine Awards, where I was nominated for 2 awards. Thank you very much for your votes in advance. But my friends, I'm gonna go now because my daughter is out here cooking. I know it's like 9 o'clock at night, but I'm like smelling the food and I'm dying to find out what she's in there cooking. So anyway, thanks for joining me this week. I will see you next week. Have a great weekend. Bye.